Clinton subpoenaed to testify in congressional Epstein investigation, guys. This was a bipartisan subpoena. Both Democrats and Republicans both came together and said, nah, we need you to testify on this. That is pretty crazy, especially in today's politics, how everything is partisan. To have bipartisan agreement on this is absolutely insane, guys. So we're going to get right into it, but welcome to Getting to the Facts. I'm your host, Andrew Curiel. You already know what it is, guys. Just make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to that channel if you haven't already, guys. We're going to hop right into this. This is from the BBC. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary are among high-profile figures to be sent legal summonses from a congressional committee investigating the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Republican James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, issued the subpoenas to the Clintons and 8 other individuals. The committee is seeking information about Epstein's history after President Donald Trump's administration decided against releasing more federal files on the dead financier. That decision sparked outrage among Trump supporters and some Democrats who refused to accept the Justice Department's statement that there was no incriminating client list in the Epstein files. Amid a rift between Trump and some of his supporters on Epstein, the committee, made up of both Democrats and Republicans, recently voted to issue the subpoenas. The panel has also subpoenaed the Justice Department itself for records related to Epstein. Lawyers for Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's associate, who is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking, had indicated she was willing to testify before the powerful investigatory committee with strict legal protections. Her scheduled August 11th deposition, though, has been postponed indefinitely. They're waiting for her Supreme Court ruling. They're waiting for the Supreme Court. There's other things going on with her. They should be doing that soon. Well, maybe not soon. I don't know when the Supreme Court's going to get to it, but it's in the works. Let's see. The Epstein legal saga has spanned 2 decades, with Florida police and the Federal Bureau of Investigation first scrutinizing the well-connected tycoon for allegations of sexual abuse in the early 2000s. Comer wrote in letters to each person that the committee must conduct oversight of the federal government's enforcement of sex trafficking laws generally, and specifically its handling of the investigation and of prosecution of Mr. Epstein and Maxwell. He also indicated that depositions will start this month and run through autumn, with Bill Clinton scheduled for October 14th. Awesome. My birthday. That's awesome. All right, guys, that is really crazy. And honestly, it's about time. Bill Clinton, especially Bill Clinton, had a very good relationship with Epstein. Flew on his plane a million times, it seems like. He's got a weird, creepy picture, which I actually pulled up. Epstein had this in his home. Okay, a picture of Bill Clinton in a blue dress. And I'm not saying like a snap picture. Like, they painted this picture, which is crazy. We're going to get right into it, guys. That was insane. We got this right here as well from the Palm Beach Post. Bill Clinton flew out of Siberia, China, and other places, sometimes without Secret Service, which is really crazy. Flight logs indicate that actor Kevin Spacey took a flight from U.S. Virgin Islands to Palm Beach International Airport on September 15, 2002 with Epstein and Bill Clinton. A flight with Chris Tucker, which didn't appear to include Clinton, occurred 6 days later, going from JFK International Airport in New York to Vila do Porto, Portugal. Clinton's aide, Doug Bands, was on most of the flights that Clinton was. 2 trips with Clinton had no notes from pilots indicating U.S. Secret Service was aboard. Epstein picked up Clinton in Siberia and flew him to a U.S. naval base in Japan on May 20th, 2002. Secret Service was not noted. Most entries concerning Clinton did. One other flight possibly did not include agents, but part of the entry was illegible. That was on November 9, 2003, from Hong Kong to Sichuan province in China. Clinton took off from PBIA in February and in March 2002 to Miami International and JFK respectively. Flight logs don't indicate why any of the trips were taken. A Clinton spokesperson said in 2019 that he knew nothing about the crimes Epstein pleaded guilty to in Florida or the sex trafficking crimes he was charged with that year. Clinton was on Epstein's plane for at least 17 flights in 2002 to 2003 after he left office in 2001. 17 flights. Guys, 17 flights is a lot of flights just in general. But 17 flights strictly on Epstein's plane in 2 years, that is kind of crazy, right? The former president went to some exotic places aboard those flights: Siberia, Morocco, China, and Armenia, to name a few, with some infamous people such as Spacey and Tucker. News reports said Spacey and Tucker flew to help the Clinton Foundation with its battle against AIDS. Let's see. I mean, that's just some crazy stuff. Some other big names, including Great Britain's Prince Andrew, either flew into or out of Palm Beach International Airport, where Epstein parked his planes when he stayed at his mansion in El Brio Way in Palm Beach. I mean, guys, that is just crazy to me. And then, like I said, we got this picture. Look at this. Like, what the heck is this, guys? Like, really? I mean, that's not a snapshot. Someone painted that. Like, you had to stay still. Either they stayed still or he took a picture of Bill sitting in there and then got someone to paint it. Either way, that's creepy. And I would not want any type of picture like that if it's not, especially if it's not real. Like, I'd be suing people. I'd be doing everything I could to get that taken away. Like, come on, Bill. Like, that's a little suspect, right? That's a little suspect. But guys, there's way too much evidence. There's way too much evidence. And again, it's not fact. It's just evidence that there was some weird stuff that Bill was doing with this guy. I mean, very weird stuff. So we want to hear from him. It's just a subpoena. Answer some questions. Now, if all he does is plead the fifth, everyone and their mama's going to have a whole bunch more questions. So you can't just plead the fifth all the way down the line. This was a bipartisan subpoena. It wasn't just Republicans calling you in to testify, okay? The Democratic Party also wanted you to testify. So if that's the case, you better freaking testify. Like, I don't know what you want. You know what I mean? I just don't know what you want. But we got this here, this little clip from Sky News, just kind of getting in to a little bit of the nuance on why these subpoenas are important and what this kind of means a little bit. So let's watch this and see what we got.
Well, in developing news this morning, Bill and Hillary Clinton are amongst a list of high-profile figures who've been subpoenaed by the US Congressional Committee. The investigation is in relation to the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking case. David Blevins reports from Washington.
It is very rare for congressional oversight to demand a deposition from a former president of the United States. The House Oversight Committee had already subpoenaed Ghislaine Maxwell, the former girlfriend and accomplice of Jeffrey Epstein, but it's now added to that list former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, a number of former Attorneys General of the United States, and a former FBI director. That is significant for several reasons. It demonstrates bipartisan momentum on transparency because Democrats voted with Republicans for this to happen. It also means the committee will now hear from people with known ties to Jeffrey Epstein, the late paedophile and sex trafficker. Bill Clinton's connections to him, for example, have been well documented. And it sets up a potential showdown between the Department of Justice and Congress, because if the US Attorney General Pam Bondi continues to refuse to release the Epstein files, then it will simply fuel concerns about a constitutional crisis in America. Of course, all of the noise around this largely arises from Donald Trump, the candidate, vowing to release the files, and then a government led by Donald Trump, the president, choosing not to do so. And the fact that it is a headline every day right now shows the enduring public interest in this case and in the demand for accountability.
And all that is true, guys. I mean, all that is true. The only thing that I gotta say is Donald Trump didn't really run on saying that he was going to release. He was very strong on the MLK files, on the JFK files, saying those are definitely getting released. When they asked about the Epstein files, he said, yeah, but we may need to be a little more careful with that. We don't want other people getting hurt that are just in the documents that didn't do anything wrong. Because I'm telling you guys, if your name pops up in that, no one's going to actually read the files to see in what context is your name in it. They're just going to see your name in it, and all hell's going to break loose in the eyes of public opinion. You know what I mean? Not saying it's right, because it's not, but that's what I feel like Trump was trying to say, is like, we got to be a little more careful with that. We just can't throw out the files to throw out the files. So that's why I like kind of what they're doing. They're trying to get Ghislaine Maxwell to talk. Which it seems like they're making progress on that. They just got to wait for the Supreme Court to hear her case. And then they're doing the subpoena of Hillary and Bill Clinton and 8 other top officials, including an FBI director. I mean, guys, this is a big subpoena. You can't just plead the fifth on this, okay? This isn't about Biden's cognitive ability, okay, or anything like that, which everyone pleaded the fifth for when they were told to testify on that. Well, not everyone. A couple people talked, but the majority just pleaded the fifth. This is a bipartisan subpoena. It's going to look way too suspicious if you plead the fifth on absolutely everything that they ask you. So these are going to be very interesting to kind of see how it comes about. So get your popcorn ready, guys. Be ready. These little testimonies that are going to happen, they should have some things in them. They should have a little bit of something in them. And if they don't, then we're going to have a lot more questions for the Clintons and for all the officials that got subpoenaed. You know what I mean, guys? So I hope you have a great rest of your day, guys. I know we're halfway through the week, so enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you on that next video.